Hi guys, Spartan765 here. Today I'm doing a video review on the Ruger LC9 S. Now for those of you who've maybe had the original LC9, it's double action only. It's got that retarded mag safety on it, or the magazine disconnect. It's got that chamber load indicator, and it's got that manual safety. And on top of that, it's double action only. Okay, yeah, that might be fine for some people. It was for me for a while. I owned that particular weapon and carried it when I needed to conceal deeply, like if I was going somewhere where I didn't want absolutely anybody to know I was carrying a gun. But it had that stupid pop-up chamber load chamber load indicator, that big huge thing that the SR9 series has as well, or the SR series has as well. And that was a big thing for me. I thought that was stupid. It could lead to reliability issues. It also had a magazine safety disconnect, which is another stupid thing. It's all so they can sell them in compliant states like California and fucking New York. I took the magazine disconnect out of mine, because I thought it was just dumb. And it also had the manual safety. The manual safety is also something that can just be taken out of the LC9, but I left mine in. But Ruger's definitely stepped up their game quite a bit here, because I'm sure if you've read anything on Firearm Blog or anything like that, firearms blogs, I should say, that the Ruger SR series and the LC9 just hasn't really been selling that well. And the reasons are everything I just explained. The SR series is the same way. It's got all these stupid safety features that it's just overly excessive, and then it has the entire frickin' manual pretty much printed on the slide in the frame of the gun. That's also something on the LC9 S that Ruger got rid of. This is the LC9 S, the S standing for Striker Fired, as you can see here. As you'll notice, sorry for the bad camera, it's a cell phone video, it doesn't have all of that legal bullshit on the side. It has pretty much just what most other firearms manufacturers in the United States have, like Smith & Wesson and the Glocks that are made in the U.S. It says, read instruction manual before use, and it just says, gun can fire with magazine removed. That's all it says. It's not, it doesn't have that stupid chamber load indicator right here. It just got a little optical, little optical port there you can see if there's a round in the chamber. No magazine disconnect. Now to keep in mind though, this particular LC9 is the LC9 S Pro. The regular LC9 S, to the best of my knowledge, does have the magazine disconnect, and I know for sure it does have the manual safety because I held a regular LC9 S, and it has that stupid manual safety here. As you can kind of see, the cutout is there for the manual safety. This has just been filled. And a manual safety in a striker-fired gun, I think, is just stupid, let alone in a carry gun, because if you need to use a weapon in self-defense, the odds are you're going to forget to take the safety out before you need to pull the trigger. Manual safeties, in my mind, are just stupid on double action and striker-fired guns. Now, 1911's obviously single action, that's a different story. But that's why I don't carry a 1911. Own a few of them, just don't carry them. Anyway, so starting off, the trigger pull on this weapon is fairly decent. I would guess it sits right at about 4 pounds, but it's a very long, it's a double action striker fired pistol. Now, what that means is, for those of you who don't understand the difference between double and single action striker fire, on a double action pull, you're pulling the trigger, and the sear is pushing the hammer back, or the striker back, and then dropping out before the striker flies forward. Just like a Glock is a double action striker fired pistol. Now, if you look at something like, let's see here, the XDM, or the XD series, that's just a sear that drops down. That would be an example of a single-action striker-fired pistol. But anyway, yes. But it's got the trigger safety right there. And if you pull the trigger, it is a very long, or I'll pull from this angle here. It's a fairly long, fairly smooth trigger pull, though. Like I said, it sits right at about 4.5 pounds is what I think. Very manageable, much better than the original LC9. And the break is very clean and very crisp. When you pull the weapon, you know, and you line up the sights and you pull the trigger, it's very easy to keep these sights perfectly lined up. That was a little bit more difficult with the LC9, just because the trigger had to be pulled back so damn far for the round to go off. You're almost literally wrapping your entire finger around the damn thing just to get the thing to shoot. And the LCPs are even worse. But the reason I think Ruger did this is they got away with all that stupid bullshit on the gun, is because they were having a lot of trouble competing with guns like the XDS from Springfield Armory and the Smith & Wesson M&P Shield, and Taurus has got one, the Millennium. That's not as small as this. And there's a few other, you know, like the Bomberg, that's a higher end gun, but a few other smaller subcompact guns that Ruger just wasn't selling the regular LC9 that well, just because of all the shit it had on it that was unnecessary. And that's when they decided to do this. They decided to do this just before they came out with the Ruger American, which is a Ruger's new 9mm full size. I think they're making it in 42. I want to say 45 as well. It doesn't have any of that bullshit on it like the SR series does. Great pistol, but the Ruger American just doesn't fit right in my hand. The rear part of the grip is a little too squared. It's a little uncomfortable right up here in this region. But anyway, enough about that. Back to the pistol. I have not shot this particular gun yet. I just purchased it. But one thing I have noticed also right off the bat is it seems that the quality has gone significantly up in these new Ruger LC9 S's. I've noticed with the regular LC9, not only mine, but multiple others that I'd held, that the barrel, when you move you could easily grab the barrel, and when you move it side to side, when the weapon was locked like this, it had a little bit of play. Same with you put your finger in the muzzle and you moved it up and down, there was a little bit of slop there. And I was like, okay, you know, I wasn't going to knock the gun too much because it is kind of a CQB, you know, gut gun, close range self-defense. But anyway, very surprised with the quality on the new Ruger LC9 S. There is absolutely no barrel swap in this weapon whatsoever, or barrel slop. It will be a fairly accurate little shooter. Another thing I noticed is the rifling in this weapon is significantly better than the original LC9. For those of you who own LC9s, the earlier ones, I got mine in 2012, my original one. You'll notice that the rifling is fairly crude. It's not very, I don't know how you put it, finely done. It looks like they pulled a fucking dull bit through the damn barrel when they rifled it. This one, it's by no means match grade, but it's definitely considerably better. I wouldn't say it's nearly as shiny as a Glock barrel or an M&P barrel or an XD barrel, but it is significantly better. I understand this is not a target gun, but I am glad to see the rifling is better and the barrel lockup is way better. The rear sight's the same. You know, you got your 3-dot crap. Those will be blacked out. I hate rear 3 dots. Or rear dot sights. I'm going to leave the front one. I like the front one white. But they are still adjustable here. You got that screw there. One complaint about the weapon, the slide release is devastatingly, irritatingly hard to drop the slide. You really have to put a lot of force into it. Now this is something that I've noticed also on all the other LC9s I've held. I don't understand why that is. That is not something too difficult to fix though. All that takes is a little bit of time with, you know, maybe some 600 grit sandpaper, and you can fix that right up. Not going to knock the gun on that. They did improve on a lot of the other stuff. Takedown is the same as a regular LC9. You pop this little gate down here, pull the slide back a little bit, drop the pin out. Only difference on the LC9 is, obviously just like a Glock, you have to decock the weapon first. You have to dry fire it, then drop this down. One thing that I did notice the quality did go down a little bit is the magazines. Interesting note, let me wipe them off here. You'll notice the magazine, this one here that's a very, very shiny, is an original LC9 magazine that came out in the earlier series. You'll notice here, if you can see, I don't know if it's going to come up that bright. This camera's really shitty, sorry about that. But it says made in Italy right there. The finish on these magazines, the early ones, are freaking phenomenal. At 30 bucks a pop, I was like, okay, you know what, it's a purely proprietary magazine, as with a lot of other small compact handguns. I'll, you know, whatever, I'll buy a second one. The next one you're going to see, the new LC9 S's have a American-made magazine, probably made in the same factory, obviously. Now, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going off. I'm sure that they work equally well. I'm just going off the base finishes here. I mean, if you hold these two magazines up next to each other here, you can tell that the Italian-made magazine is literally a mirror finish. The numbers are a little more sharp on the windows there to indicate how many rounds you have left. The Ruger logo was stamped a little bit deeper and a little bit more readable. But, you know, again, that's just pity stuff that in reality probably isn't going to make one bit of difference how the magazine functions. I would assume that they'd function equally well. The steel is the same as far as the thickness goes. Again, that's just a personal little pet peeve. If any of you want the really shiny magazine, just personally, I don't really give a shit. If the mag works, it works. It could be rusty. I don't care. But anyway, so that's my review on the Ruger LC9 S. Any comments or questions, feel free to send me a message. Spartan765 out.